Zoom out. When today's headlines try to yank you into outrage, remember, see systems, not sides. Most of what's loud is designed to trigger fast, binary thinking. We're going to practice slow, curious thinking that buys you back control. No politics, no teams, just tools. By the end, you'll have a simple routine to pause, spot the pattern, and pick a better perspective. Think of this as defensive driving for your brain. A few habits that help you avoid mental pileups and keep your attention, the most valuable thing you own, from being hijacked. Welcome back to Thinking and Being. If you like what you see today, please go ahead and like and subscribe, as this will enable you to see more content from myself and others just like this. And of course, I plan on being on YouTube for the next 50 years or so you might as well deal with me and hit the buttons, and you won't regret it. A lot of things are going on in the world, if we're being honest. If we pay attention to the news, pay attention to social media, things are getting a little hot. So why now? Because speed and scale amplify mistakes. News cycles refresh by the minute. Your feed optimizes for reaction, not reflection. As systems thinker Donella Meadows once taught, events are the surface of deeper structures. And as billionaire Ray Dalio shows, patterns repeat over long arcs. Without the habit of zooming out, we mistake noise for truth, tribes for facts, and we get played by incentives that we don't see. This isn't about who's right. It's about how to think when the temperature rises. So first, let's talk about how you get sucked in to different traps. The first is a cognitive bias system trap. Daniel Kahneman, a Nobel Prize-winning economist and psychologist, calls it System 1, fast, automatic, confident. It's great for sprinting from a snake, terrible for sorting complex events around the world. Biases like confirmation bias, where we love evidence we already agree with, or availability bias, recent equals true, or anchoring, the first thing in our head that was shown to us sticks, and loss aversion, where the fear of losing something psychologically weighs more on your mind than the joy of winning something equivalent. All these push us towards certainty without accuracy. It's just human nature, and it's been highly studied. A practical move, name it to tame it. Say, I'm probably confirming, or this feels true because it's recent. The second you label the bias, you create just enough distance to think clearly. The second system trap is all or nothing thinking. Humans love tidy stories. Behavioral economist Dan Ariely shows how framing pushes us towards binary choices. Things like hero versus villain, 100% right or 100% wrong. But real life lives in the gray. When you hear always or never, try this ride-along question. What would a reasonable counterexample look like? If you can imagine even one, the situation probably isn't black and white. That little pivot preserves humility, which is oxygen for critical thinking. Next, a system effect, known as echo chambers. Social feeds and social media create reinforcing feedback loops, as you probably know, but we still get sucked in. You click what you like, the algorithm serves more of it, your beliefs feel universally shared. Donella Meadows, a systems thinking professor, would call this a reinforcing loop. Outrage leads to engagement, leading to more outrage. Add homophily, which is where we tend to cluster with similar people, and you get false consensus. Everyone I see agrees. A quick fix, inoculate your feed. Follow credible voices outside your lane. Not to convert you, but to see the edges of your own map. And another system effect, rallying with the tribe. Peter Senge, one of the authors of the best system thinking books on the market, talks about mental models, lenses that shape what we notice. Couple those with Robert Cialdini's social proof and authority cues, and team signals start making our decisions for us. We don't just think individually, we think socially. So ask, if my group's identity were at stake, would I judge this situation differently? That single question weakens the tribal magnet just enough to let evidence speak. Now let's go into 10 ways to be a better thinker.
Until now, this was the only way to get juice from an orange.
You mean there's a better way?
The first way is to zoom out, as this episode suggests. Start with time and space. Ask successful billionaire Ray Dalio's question. What's the long-term pattern? Then apply Donella Meadows' systems thinking to it. Events leading to patterns, leading to structures. Try a 3-step micro-routine. Timeline. What happened before this? Trend. Is it rising, falling, cycling? And third, driver. What structure or incentive could produce that trend? When you zoom out, hot takes cool down, and the signal stands out from the noise.
Everything is a machine. Sometimes things happen that are hard to understand. Life often feels so difficult and complicated. It's too much to take in all at once. My deep pain led me to reflect deeply on my circumstances. It also led me to reflect on nature because it provides a guide for what's true. So I thought a lot about how things work, which helped to put me and my own circumstances in perspective. I learned that while most everyone expects the future to be a slightly modified version of the present, it is typically very different. That's because people are biased by recent history and overlook events that haven't happened in a long time, perhaps not even in their lifetime, but they will happen again.
And one of the things I do in my videos is I do a YouTube shout out to other content creators. And today I want to do a shout out to Principles by Ray Dalio. I do this because they have incredibly interesting storytelling content. He's inspired me to be on YouTube myself. It's good karma, and he obviously deserves some good credit. His channel talks about a number of things, including his 2 books, one on principles of success and another on the changing world order. In the changing world order, he looks at systemic patterns across economies and nations over the last few hundreds of years on planet Earth. And he looks at what variables lead to what patterns over time. And it's quite interesting. And also his videos about principles are great guides to be successful in your own career and life. And I'm currently reading his book, Principles by Ray Dalio, where it has a lot of tips on success, things like understanding that people are wired very differently, and that it's helpful to be radically open-minded. So I recommend this book and his YouTube channel. I'll put a link to his channel below, and also put a link to that video that you saw a clip of where he talks about everything being a machine. And in this case, for this video, everything being a system. Same thing. That video is very well done, as well as his other videos, so I suggest you go check that out. Okay, back to this video. The next tool is the 5 whys. This is a concept borrowed from the Toyota Corporation and echoed by system thinkers like Peter Senge, where you ask why 5 times continuously to jump from symptoms to root causes. So an example would be, why did that clip go viral? Outrage. Why outrage? Identity threat. Why identity threat? Framing. Why that frame? It rewards clicks. Why do clicks matter? Ad revenue and incentives. By the 5th why, you're diagnosing the system, not just reacting to the event. The next tool is to see systems and not sides. Replace who's right with what system keeps producing this. Sketch the loop in your head. Trigger leads to outrage, leads to engagement, leads to algorithm boost, leading to more triggers. Is it reinforcing or amplifying, or is it balancing and stabilizing? Also look at where is the leverage point, the one change that shifts the whole pattern. As Donella Meadows taught, changing information flows, who sees what and when, often beats arguing with individuals. Next tool, flip the frame. Frames steer choices. Psychologist Daniel Ariely showed how the same facts look different under different frames. And author Daniel Pink adds that persuasion begins with perspective taking. Try 2 flips. Inverse, argue the strongest version of the other side, steel man, not straw man. Or another flip is rotate. Change the goal from who's right to what outcome do we want in a year. Frames don't just describe problems, they create them. Pick a better one. Next tool is spot the bias. Make a quick bias checklist. Confirmation bias, loss aversion, anchoring, availability. When you feel the rush of certainty, run the checklist and do PLR. Pause the reaction, label the bias, and replace with a question. What would change my mind? Economist and psychologist duo Kahneman and Tversky taught us that you can't debate bias, but you can design around it. Next tool, check the incentives. Ask 3 fast questions. Who benefits? What resource is scarce? And where's the status? Robert Cialdini's levers, authority, scarcity, and reciprocity, and Pink's motivation insights explain more behavior than slogans do. Follow the money, the time, and the status, and the messaging often decodes itself. If an incentive makes the outcome predictable, you've probably found out the real story. Next tool is to beware of the easy story. Beware the narrative fallacy. Tidy stories that feel true because they're tidy. Daniel Ariely shows how we smooth contradictions. Daniel Kahneman warns how we ignore base rates and counterfactuals. So do a story stress test. What facts would break this plot? What base rate am I skipping? If the tale can't survive a few inconvenient details, it's not truth. It's just comfort. Author Nassim Taleb reminds us most daily movement is random drift. Peter Senge says look for structure beneath fluctuation. So 2 moves can help. Change the time scale weekly to yearly and change the metric, 1 data point to a moving average or lagging versus leading indicators. If a claim flips with the zoom level, it's probably noise. If it persists, you've found signal. And another tool is the levels of understanding. Climb Donella Meadows' ladder. Events are on top, on the surface, then there's patterns, and then there's structures, and then there's mental models underneath that drive everything above it. So an example would be an event, a viral clash, and then the pattern, spikes after polarizing triggers, and then the structure, algorithm plus a revenue advertising model. And then the mental model becomes outrage equals value. Now ask, which level am I stuck at? And what's one question that moves me up a level? Depth isn't about more facts. It's about higher vantage points. And the last tool, which I like a lot, is what would Ben Franklin do? One of the greatest Americans that ever lived, Ben Franklin, he mixed first principles with social wisdom. He'd strip a problem to basics, test assumptions like a scientist, and then run his moral algebra. He would list pros and cons, he would sleep on it, and then he would revisit with cooler blood. So add a Franklin element. Before reacting to things, write the opposite case and ask a friend to poke holes. Reason plus humility beats hot take certainty almost every time. Thanks for watching today. My 3 key takeaways are: zoom out before you react. Look at timeline, patterns, and drivers. Zooming out buys you clarity. Next, see systems, not sides. Sides divide. Systems explain. Third, check your bias. Certainty feels great, but it misleads often. Keep your mind free when the world gets loud. So what do you think? How are you handling recent world events? Are you or others falling into different traps? Comment below and let us know. If you like what you saw today, please like and subscribe, as it'll keep content like this coming your way. And it's my goal to make this content entertaining and funny, enlightening and educational, as well as a bit nostalgic. Stay tuned as we're going to get back into more core topics ranging from consciousness to physics to philosophy and psychology. Until then, keep thinking and being, and do not go gentle into that good night.